It's Slate Night, the Film Fan Podcast. Now, here are your hosts, Corey and Mason.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Slate Night, the Film Fan Podcast, the podcast made by film fans for film fans. As always, I'm one of your hosts, Mason Schmidt, here with my best bud, Corey Knudsen.
The Packers lose.
Oh. Who does that?
David Ortiz was like, the Yankees lose.
The Yankees.
Fuck the Packers. Yeah.
This is the movie podcast. We'll talk about movies eventually.
Yeah.
But yes, it is playoff football now. Vikings aren't a part of it. The Chargers are. And sad to say it, they go up against Corey's Patriots. Chargers being my second favorite football team. Patriots, I don't know if... Do you put them above the Vikings for you, or are they below the Vikings?
It's pretty even.
Kind of a toss-up?
Pretty even, yeah.
But sadly, the way that the seeding kind of worked out going into the playoffs, I was really dreading this. Because I was like, honestly, I'd rather the Chargers play really anyone else. Play the Broncos for all I care. Don't play the Pats. Because I didn't want to have our teams going up against each other. Because the Chargers are really great at shooting themselves in the foot in the playoffs, especially of the past handful of years, especially against the Jaguars like 2 to 3 years back when they just gave up one of the biggest leads in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So I'm terrified, and you get to hopefully see Drake May just whip my Chargers.
Post Brady, we've given you a couple of years to figure it out. Well, we went through Mac Jones, Bailey Zappi, finally got Drake May. Gave you years to do this. Chiefs, sure, have your little run, fuck off. But Drake May's back. Mike Vrabel's in.
Yeah,
boys are humming. It's fun.
I've kind of already made my peace with the fact that I'm likely going to be disappointed by my Chargers at some point in the playoffs. So if it happens this first week, as long as it's somewhat of a close game, I'm kind of happy with that. I think
it will be. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm hoping, but teams that I root for, they're prone to get fucking just blown out of the water.
Yeah, but Packers lost to the Bears today. Bear down, nice. That's sweet.
I watched a chunk of it during the second quarter, and the Packers were up by 2 scores. And then I was like, oh fuck, how did that game end up? The Packers better not have won, and then Bears had a silly fourth quarter, just putting up 25 points.
Insane. They did exactly what they've done all year. When I went to the Vikes game with my mom earlier this year, they came back and won the last second. So, fucking playoff football's back. It's a great time of year. I am drinking. You're still on your dry January.
Yeah.
I'm drinking this whiskey that Mason brought over. It's called Harry Man.
It's
Mason.
It's
the picture's him, if you can see. They use this model.
Yeah. It's like I'm wearing long sleeves all the time.
Yeah. It's by Crooked Furrow from Fargo, North Dakota. They say that their adopted hometown is Vergas, Minnesota. Okay, that's cool. I don't know what that really means, but good whiskey though. I like it. It's pretty good stuff. So ripping into that.
Speaking to me like the Green Goblin mask right now.
Oh, it's just like,
come on, what we doing?
But yeah, well, we're going to get into a lot of stuff. I didn't watch as much this week. It was a very busy and stressful week, but it was fun to escape to the theater for a bit. One thing I wanted to mention before we get into our new releases, we don't have to take a lot of time on it, but there was some hope this week that there was another episode of Stranger Things. A little conformity gate, which feels like a lifetime ago, but people were saying Wednesday, January 7th, 7 days after the finale, we're going to get another episode. And I'm not going to lie, when I first saw that, I was like, conformity gate, what the fuck is this? This is dumb. Yeah. I saw it, and it was like, there's going to be another episode. It's like, the last episode, the finale was Vecna's mind control. They're going to come back and do another episode showing the finale from the actual point of view. I'm like, it actually sounds kind of cool.
And some of the things that they theorized about in that final episode, and just the way things are set up, or at the graduation ceremony, that was a thing that I saw a lot of similarities pointed out of see Vecna, there's glasses everywhere, everyone's holding their hands the same there's a lot of things that were brought up. I was like, okay, this is interesting. There's something here, maybe. The Duffer Brothers just sweating all week, God, they're gonna be so mad.
We gotta film another episode in 2 days, boys. Get back.
Yeah.
There are after Wednesday came and went and no episode came. There was a documentary that's going to come out on the 12th, I believe it is, called One Last Adventure. That's just the making of season 5. Some people are still holding on to hope, and I do kind of find it interesting that they say the documentary is going to start out, it's going to be normal, and then Vecna's going to break into it, and it's going to be a new nightmare type thing where it gets meta with it, and then it kind of goes into a pseudo finale. that's not going to happen.
No.
But the conformity gate people out there are still holding on hope, and I appreciate that because it was actually pretty fun this week. The days leading up, I'm like, I'm kind of getting into this rabbit hole a little bit right now.
When it first came about, I was like, just let it fucking die. We just had it wrap up. Let's just leave it. And then I started looking into it, and I think you messaged me about it, and I was like, okay, I'll start reading some of the stuff about it. And I was like, okay.
There's some things were very reaching a lot. Other things I'm like, I could see that. That's interesting.
I was like, as someone who doesn't love Stranger Things, I was a little disappointed.
I thought it would have been cool.
Yeah, that's such a bold thing too, and I'm like, shit, Netflix, maybe take notes and do that later on. Yeah. If you have another show that catches fire like Stranger Things necessarily does, maybe you could do it with Bridgerton, I guess.
Yeah. And I guess I'm not 100% ruling out that it still could happen at some point. I don't know. This is the show with all the mind and dreams and stuff's not real. That I'm like they still could,
could
but
play with it a little
probably
bit.
not. But it was a fun little week. Anyways, just wanted to throw that out there because that was talk of the town for a little bit. But getting into movies from this week, like I said, I only watched a couple things, but one of them was a movie I've been looking forward to. We've both been looking forward to for a long time, which is No Other Choice, which is directed by Park Chan-wook, who has done some great movies in Old Boy and Decision to Leave, The Handmaiden, which I haven't seen.
I always try to find the Blu-ray of it, but there's no Region A or North American release of a Blu-ray for that film, and I also have no idea where the fuck it's streaming. But I always hear such great things about it, and I love the movies of his that I have seen, so I'm like, I need to check this out eventually.
Yeah, this one, it's on a lot of people's best of last year. It was Chris Stuckman's favorite movie, and very happy. I think we're both very happy we got to see it because this movie's fucking awesome. Yeah. It's really good. Lee Byung-hun, you may know him as Storm Shadow.
It's crazy thinking that while watching this. It's just this man's just trying to get employed someplace, and it was you were dicing up Snake Eyes back when I was 9 years old.
It's dude, you're kind of a legend in my mind. But yeah, like you said, it's just Lee Byung-hun, and he gets unemployed from his job he's been at for over 20 years. And he works in the paper business is very important. So if you love The Office and you're sick of, you've had that void of just the paper business not being relevant in film and TV, here's your movie. Yeah. But he wants to work in a paper company again, and he's trying to beat out his other competition. And he figures the best way, instead of just being qualified and doing normal job interview, he's I need to kill the other people that are more qualified than I am. And I'll leave it at that because this movie's really fun to discover along the way. I really didn't know a lot about the movie. I saw a trailer or two maybe, and this movie is so entertaining. It Lee Byung-hun I think is so good in the movie. It strikes a really good balance of some great dark humor within it, and just kind of the drama of this, and he's trying to provide for his family. I really like his wife in the movie as well. I thought she gave a great performance. And he's just trying to provide for his kids, and it just is kind of a fun ride to go along because it's something I appreciate about international cinema is it doesn't follow the conventions of American filmmaking a lot. We talked about that with It Was Just an Accident and Secret Agent, and it was so fun to just discover this movie along the way. It's a beautiful looking movie. The editing is spectacular in this. It's so seamless, and it doesn't feel... It's something where I'm noticing the editing in the movie, but in a very good way, where I'm like, fuck, that is a great transition between scenes. Mm-hmm. So this one worked really well for me. I don't think it would be on my top 10 of last year. It didn't work for me quite as well as some other people, it seems like. Sort of, again, in that vein of Sentimental Value, Hamnet, Secret Agent I've talked about, where I think these award season movies that are really good, really like them, don't have any issues with them really, but just didn't quite connect as much. But still, this movie was a fucking blast to watch.
Yeah, I, like you, was really excited for this movie and was kind of dreading watching it in 2026, knowing that it's a 2025 release, and we'd already released our top 10 films of 2025, just because I heard so many great things, and I figured there's a good possibility that this ends up on my top 10 of 2025. And it does. Likely in my 8 or 7 spot. I need to reevaluate some things. I had a pretty big watch week, this being one of those big movies. I love the poster for this, the trailer for it, just him holding up that pot on the cliff, and the way that scene plays out after that moment too is really great. I think that this film, it's really interesting to just see watching Park Chan-wook's films, they're very satirical a lot of the time, and also seeing the cultural differences. There's such importance, obviously, in having a career, having a job, especially as a father or a man in a relationship who needs to provide for a family. Like, you get that here in the States, but also in South Korea, how much that plays into their social status and how people see you, and how, oh, this other man is also unemployed and his wife's leaving him or having an affair because she sees him as being lesser. So I think that there's cool things, and there's a cool little therapy scene where everyone else that's been now unemployed at his office, because I think it was more of just like integrating that like advanced technology and AI and downsizing like all the physical workers, and because we have new technology that can basically automate and do their work for them. And they're all sitting in a conference room, and they're doing like these like little mental and like physical practices to kind of calm down, and just like, oh, you still have worth, like everything's okay, and just like patting themselves. I'm like, this is so different from what I would anticipate from this film, but you get all like the quintessential things from a Park Chan-wook film of just awesome editing and like amazing transitions. I don't know what Korea has built up between like Bong Joon-ho and Park Chan-wook, but like I think this is such a good companion piece to Parasite in a lot of ways. Yeah. There's not a lot of like there's some tonal similarities. There's good humor. There's good satire. There's, at least in Parasite, some really good horror. This movie has some really good thriller elements. That also, there's another shot in the trailer where he has a man at gunpoint, but he has it under an oven mitt, and then a garden glove, and then a gun is saran wrapped to his hand. And there's bits that play out in like very unpredictable ways, and they're so fun to watch. And there's also cool moments between like just the family that I wouldn't think I would see if this film was made stateside. There's just like creative random things of like, oh, their son is also trying to supply for the family and trying to make up where his father is still unemployed looking for a job. He's like, well, I need to help make ends meet for my family too. So he's trying to steal cell phones, and how that kind of complicates things that the dad may or may not be doing. There's great scenes where some characters are maybe catching wind of what might be happening, and I don't want to give away too much, but there is a phone conversation towards the end where a character might be catching wind of something, of what's going on, and I love the way the characters kind of talk around what's happening, even though they're completely, through their kind of blasé basic conversation, completely acknowledging the craziness of what's going on. I think that this is so well written. At times it was very funny. I will say I saw this also in a packed theater at the main cinema. I'm sure you saw it at the main cinema, because that's, I think, the only theater really around us. Maybe one of the AMCs. But there was a person behind me that was dying cackling at every line in this movie, and I was like, God, the movie's funny, but it's not that funny. I'm gonna knock you out, dude. Just shut up. But the movie, for the entire audience, really worked at my showing, and I had such a great time. The performances are good, and like I said, it's just so unpredictable and zany, and it feels, like I said, a good companion piece to Parasite. I love this movie so much, and I was like, God damn it. And it looks so pretty. Oh.
I think that with Parasite and this one you mentioned, it's really good if you're looking to get into international movies or like Korean movies. I think those two are really good examples, because like Old Boy, I love that movie, but there is some like darker stuff in that movie. Some things where it's like, ooh, that's pretty offsetting. But this one, I think, is a good entry point, maybe, if you're looking to get into that. Also, I think this comes along every once in a while, but where a movie's title is so perfect for what the movie is about. And I think that's one of the strongest things about this movie, is the theme of these characters having no other choice. Like, they feel like they have to do this. And it's not just the main character. So many other characters say that throughout the movie. And seeing how, like, the main character, you know, they get kind of pushed out of their job by this new corporate strategy coming in, the AI stuff that you mentioned, of, like, taking over and less human jobs that we need. And where we end up with the movie of what characters are willing to sacrifice because they have no other choice. Yeah. And they feel like they need to provide for their family, and they've gone through this whole ordeal. So I think it just really is such a well-realized movie. The themes are perfect. The humor in there is amazing. That that scene with the oven mitts and all this stuff. Like, that whole sequence of a struggle for a gun is so funny. The music
is so fucking loud.
Oh, it's so loud intentionally.
Yeah.
The theater's just fucking booming like a Marvel movie in there. You're like, God damn. But it's just such a refreshing movie to watch as well. So I think this one, you know, is going to sit really well with me. It may even over time with a rewatch or two move into my top 10 from the year, or at least like honorable mentions. But definitely check out this movie. It's kind of limited release right now, but if it's playing, definitely check it out.
Yeah, and it's a little over, it's like 220 or 219 or something like that for a runtime. It doesn't feel that long. I think it was paced really well. I prefer Decision to Leave over this film, but Decision to Leave does feel long at parts for me. Whereas this just kind of clipped along. I already mentioned the sense of humor that this film has, but it also does such a great job of showing and not telling, and just letting the audience figure out, just by presenting things on screen, what these characters are thinking. Like the way we find out, because it is shown in the trailer, it's talked about in the synopsis, that he thinks, okay, I'm going to kill my competition, basically. That scene where we get that information is him laying out all of these resumes of other potential competitors that he's dealing with in that same market that he works within, and he's given them letter grades, and he's ranking himself in within that to see, like, well, if we all apply for the same job, who's ahead of me? Who has an A+ resume where I have like an A- or whatever? I was like, this is so well done. Yeah. And it works so great. Also, I don't know, I think my favorite moment in the film, I'm going to keep it kind of bare bones just because it happens towards the end. It could maybe spoil something, but it involves a man walking into a factory and putting headphones in, and why he puts the headphones in and what he listens to. I was like, perfect. Love this. I think that this film is so much fun. I don't think Park Chan-wook has ever missed, at least from what I've seen. So I would definitely recommend it. I'm sure it's going to stick around come Oscar season. I hope it's one of those 10 for Best Picture. Obviously, foreign language film.
Yeah, for sure.
Or international feature. So, great movie. Really recommend. I'm happy and also kind of pissed. I'm like, damn it, it would be in my top 10 the week after we do our top 10 video. But really big fan of this movie. Talking about now 2026 releases, even though No Other Choice did go expand wide in 2026 to more theaters nationwide. I finally got to see a film in 2026. I saw Primate this week. It was, I feel like, kind of the hot hot movie coming out this week, and it was kind of much talked about, at least within horror communities, because of it being basically a creature feature. It's directed by Johannes Roberts, who did Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City, which I've seen like half of, maybe 75% of that movie, and then I just didn't finish it because it was kind of bland. He also did 47 Meters Down, which I remember being looked at as like a semi-decent shark movie back in 2013 or wherever the fuck it came out. I never saw it. This movie, I want to start off with the cast. Troy Kotzer's in it, and I love Troy Kotzer from Coda. I like him getting work and being able to still continuously prove that, yes, even with his inability to hear, and even being a deaf actor, he can still provide great performances, and he's such a comforting presence within films. Coda, you can say that. You can say that here too. And other than that, I can read you the list of supporting characters or other actors within this film. You got Victoria Wyant, Jessica Alexander, Johnny Sequoia. I don't know any of these actors. It's relatively padded out by unknowns, at least for me. I just haven't seen a lot of their back catalog, but all the performances are really good. It's about this group of friends. They're going back to one of their friends' home in Hawaii. It's clear that they're going home after a college break or a little break in classes after finals, and they're just going to go hang out and veg. This family also happens to have a monkey or a chimp as a family member, or a claimed family member named, I think Ben. Which, the main conceit of the movie of people owning chimps or owning exotic animals, to me, I'm just like, red flag, you're stupid, the chimp's gonna rip your face off. So when the chimp rips people's faces off in this movie, I'm like, yeah, you're fucking idiots, like, you should have known. So, the one thing I want to say is that this film has great practical effects, some really good kills. You do get some kind of lazy writing and lazy plotting of just characters being like, yeah, let's go, we're gonna fucking drink and have a night in, like, it's gonna be great. It's like, I was a college kid once, also at that point becoming an adult, so I'm not just like a high schooler wanting to get drunk all the time. Like, I also have some responsibilities and stuff. So I'm kind of getting annoyed by that trope of just like, you're in college, so the only thing you do is get wasted. And I'm like, okay, sure, whatever. So you get kind of those scenes at the beginning, kind of leading into the characters getting to this main setting of this home in Hawaii. And you get some shoddy dialogue at times and some somewhat promised character depth that goes nowhere or leads to nothing. There's mention that this main character of Lucy is going home. Her mom had just passed or has been passed away for the past year. She died from cancer, and all they say about that is that it was tough. They bring it up, and then they don't develop it into anything about like it bringing her family closer together, her closer with her sister, any of that stuff. It's just, yeah, her mom died of cancer about a year ago. It was tough. Not going to talk about it ever again, so why even mention it at all? But I really liked the way that this film was really contained within and around this house. It's an 89-minute movie, and it works really well. The biggest takeaway I have from this movie, aside from the pretty convincing effects, I don't think I really saw any seams that worked for me. Some of the moments of suspense and tension really worked, and there were some like jump out moments that tricked me or like worked around like the typical rhythm of a jump scare sequence that I was like, okay, you got me. Fuck, that was new. So I found that kind of refreshing. The score for this movie is my favorite part of the movie. Just because it feels like something John Carpenter would have baked up in like the 80s. It's synthy and it has like a pulse to it. And it feels something kind of like it's different from what I would typically associate with a movie like this. But overall, it was a really fun time at the theaters. It's not like the best movie ever, but for being the first movie out the gate in 2026, a pretty decent little creature feature with great, grisly, brutal kills. Like, there's a good amount of gore in this movie, which I really appreciate. And some of the kills looked like, wow, this almost looks practical the way that they're handling it. It looks like prosthetics and makeup, and I'm like, I like this. There's some basic characters. They're kind of bland. I do like with the tight-knit group of characters we have. Like, going into this movie, I'm like, all right, I'm going to need a body count. Like, if we're having a monkey or a chimp killing off people, we're going to need, like, 18 people at this house. There's, like, 7 characters in this movie. And they really work with those 7 characters. No one's safe. Like, this film is really willing to just kill off characters, and I really respected that. So it was a good watch. I'd recommend checking it out. Granted, it is more of a gory watch, so just have that mindset going into it. But, like, I didn't take my wife to it. She would not enjoy this at all. I had a great time watching it. And it's a pretty decent watch. Pretty decently well-made movie. I'm sure it's Johannes Roberts' best film he's put to screen, so I'd recommend it.
Yeah, I planned on seeing it this week before No Other Choice, and then another movie kind of came into limited release in our area, and I just kind of prioritized those over. But I probably will check out Primate, whether in theaters or in a few weeks maybe when I check it out. But the other one that I watched in theaters, which we also both saw, was Is This Thing On? And it's Bradley Cooper's new movie, and I'm just very surprised that this is not more in the awards conversation. It's kind of coming out on the last end of a lot of things, at least kind of wide release. But essentially, Will Arnett is the main character in this movie, and him and his wife, played by Laura Dern, are going through a divorce. They're both kind of dealing with that. Will Arnett decides to take up stand-up comedy, and he just kind of finds some comfort, finds some community within that. And him and Laura Dern and some of their friends, Bradley Cooper and Andra Day, are in the mix too. And it's just a very sweet movie. Mm-hmm. Like, this is one, you talked about No Other Choice jumping onto your top 10 of last year. This movie is on my top 10. And again, it sucks because, like, we can't wait forever to, like, see everything. So it's like we kind of have to do our top 10s relatively at the end of the year. But Is This Thing On is definitely in my top 5 from last year. I absolutely love this movie. Bradley Cooper, aside from him being an actor, I just really love in anything he pops up in. I think his 3 movies he's directed, A Star Is Born, which if you're an audio listener, I have 3 different copies of this movie on Blu-ray sitting on our set right here. Yeah. It was at a time when I was buying every release of movies that I really loved. But I did it with Force Awakens too. I have 7 copies of that movie. So, you know, it's fun. If I had more money and time and if studios still put out a lot of cool releases,
yeah.
But it's kind of fun. But A Star Is Born I love, and Maestro I think is so great and deserved more Oscar
Deserves
wins.
a Criterion release.
Yeah.
Give me a physical release of that movie. I
100%.
love that movie.
It's so good, and I love the way that Bradley Cooper directs movies, and especially with this one, it feels very naturalistic, where it just is like, feels like you're just watching people. It doesn't feel like you're watching a movie. Even the camera movements are just like a lot of like handheld kind of camera movements there. I do want to get into like some specific lines and things towards the end of this movie of where characters are at. So if you don't want to know some of those specifics, go check it out. This movie's really good. Gonna jump into like light spoilers, I guess I would say.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to point out some of my favorite scenes from this movie. I just wrote down a lot of stuff. One of them is there's when Will Arnett and Laura Dern are kind of divorced, they're separated, and then at a certain point they kind of find their way back to one another, and they kind of are like they talk about having an affair with each other, like they're each other's affair.
An affair with my wife.
And there's a really good kind of trip that a lot of the characters go on to, like this kind of beach house or something.
Oyster Bay.
This Oyster Bay, yeah, that's right. And Will Arnett is almost going to go to bed, and Andra Day walks down, and she sits down on the couch. Her and Bradley Cooper's characters are married in the movie, and she just sits down. She's like, "Hey, we don't really talk all that much about stuff." But she's like, marriage just doesn't fucking work. And she's like, I have seen myself in you so much of just yourself being drained over the course of years when you're in this marriage and like losing your individuality when you're here. And she's like, all right, well, I'm going to go to bed now. And it was just like such a quick scene, but I was like, fuck, that was really impactful. And it kind of leads to this conversation that Laura Dern and Will Arnett have in an attic immediately after, where they are just kind of airing it out. They're just like, this is what I think, and they talk about that of like losing the individual aspects of yourself in a marriage. And Laura Dern brings up like marriage is finding somebody that you are unhappy with, that you have arguments with, and it was just such like a refreshing thing to see about relationships. I think that's part of the reason I like Together so much from last year. It covers some of those same themes of like sacrificing part of yourself, and Laura Dern was like this great volleyball player back in the day, and then after she ended, like she had, kids and got married, and then she was like, I just didn't feel like myself, and they both felt that. So that scene I loved. And then after that we get Will Arnett, who goes to his stand-up comedy. He's been doing pretty well there, but he just has a fucking crash out.
Yeah.
And his dad's in the audience watching him, which he doesn't know.
Doesn't know.
Ciaran Hinds, who's great in the movie.
Yeah.
I love seeing him pop up. But he's just like, gets up on stage, he's like, relationships fucking suck. I hate everything.
Work. They're vampires. They suck the life out of you. Don't let them do it.
Like, there's no happiness anywhere, which we've all gone through at a certain point where you're like, fuck, that breakup hurt really hard, and that sucked. And then we get some scenes towards the end of the movie. You and I talked about one of them, which Bradley Cooper comes over. Him and his wife, again played by Andra Day, had been having issues. And he's just like, Will Arnett's like, it's like, I don't know, everything's just like really confusing with this. And Bradley Cooper's like, who Bradley Cooper's also like just a stoner the whole movie.
He's a stoner, kind of failing actor the entire movie.
So funny.
He's fantastic.
He is so good in this movie. And he's like, man, I'm usually pretty confused, but I really like being confused with her in a relationship. And then he just goes on and like says a really funny line about like a painting in the background. And it's such a throwaway line, but it's so... He talks about a painting that's like Laura Dern that's like spiking a volleyball and you can't see her face. And he's like, her face isn't on it. You should just like flip the picture around and you should do it that way.
He's like, that's not how it works. He's like, could it?
It could be.
It could be.
It could be. So that just like Bradley Cooper, very like kind of small appearances in this movie, but really good as an actor. And then the last thing I wanted to mention, kind of the final scene between Laura Dern and Will Arnett. He goes back there and he's basically like, I was unhappy in our marriage, but I wasn't unhappy with our marriage.
Yeah.
I love that line so much. That's incredible writing. And he's basically just like, I want to be unhappy with you.
Yeah.
And I fucking love that. That's so refreshing in a sort of romantic comedy of sorts. Mm-hmm. And it just is a movie that really worked for me. And I don't know, maybe just personal things too with like my parents being divorced. Like of the kids in the movie just reacting to the divorce and like how they are dealing with it, and what they're like, oh, like your dad's dating somebody, and like, oh, your mom's with somebody. Maybe it's like having to answer questions as a 10-year-old. You're like, I don't know.
Not my business.
It's like, oh, what's that child support going to? That you're like, I just needed a bike or something. Yeah. Like, I don't know. So I think it was a movie like tailor-made for me, just like watching it from the get-go until the end of it. I think it would just really hit on a lot of those individual scenes, but as a whole, I just loved how it explored relationships and how messy it can be, and losing parts of yourself, sacrificing parts of yourself, but how beautiful it can be when it does work, and how messy it can be when it doesn't work.
Yeah. I was going into this movie at the jumping off point of 2025 at the start of the year, I was like, yeah, new Bradley Cooper directed film, of course I'm excited for it. And then as this movie I feel like it's been in the background of the awards season all the time, and then now finally being able to see it towards the tail end of all of these award films finally coming out, I lost some kind of excitement for it. I didn't have I knew I would probably like this movie. I didn't think I'd love it. And this movie blew me away. And I also had, I saw the trailer once, and I left it at that, and I just went in thinking that this was going to be the Will Arnett show. It's not just a Will Arnett show. You have a great balance between Laura Dern and Will Arnett, and I think one of my favorite aspects about this film is that, yes, they are kind of going through a separation, but they are both working towards their, solving their marriage, or at least figuring out what's going to be best for the both of them. What I really appreciated about this is that both of these characters aren't catty with one another. There's a couple of scenes where they get a little nitpicky, or a little, they get after each other in, unfair ways, once or twice. But even in that kind of attic argument where they're airing everything out, there's a part where Will Arnett's like, you completely shut yourself off. You did. You were gone. I couldn't be there for you because you were nowhere. And she just says, you're right. And I was just like, holy shit. Seeing a character just accept responsibility, especially in kind of this setting, where we've gone throughout this movie of I think they should still work together. Sure, there's friction, but this doesn't make sense. And then them kind of airing out their grievances of when she's also talking about, I left all this professional career and these aspirations of volleyball and what I knew and what I was good at. I left that all behind, and I I looked for fulfillment in you and our kids, and that just wasn't enough, and that was my mistake. And just there's great conversations where I was like, holy shit, these are mature adults talking, not characters, and it surprised me. You get great stand-up scenes where Will Arnett will go on stage and he's not a comic, he's just doing this initially he's just doing this so he doesn't have to pay the cover charge at this bar. He's like, fine, I'll go up on stage so I don't have to pay the $15 cover charge and I can get a beer, whatever. And I think he fumbles through his sets a little bit, but he gets some kind of pity laughter and some decent jokes. And I thought the entire time I was like, this is how I would perform at stand-up.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, that's 100% what would happen. It'd
Yeah.
just be me telling stories that I find funny and trying to be funny, and people would be like, yeah. So it was refreshing. It was fun in that way. But I just really appreciated that these characters were people, and that they were flawed, and they were willing to acknowledge each other's flaws, and they didn't blame each other too much. And I like that conversation that you brought up too with Andra Day, where she sits down with on the bed or on the couch while Will Arnett's getting ready for bed, and she's like, so I don't like you, but here's why. Because you and I are the same person, and I don't want to be that. I don't want to go down your road. And I'm feeling that I am. And, I think that this film has a lot of really mature conversations, and it's done in a way that's not, big blow-up scenes. It's not... This film reminded me of Marriage Story in, structure, and in, the way scenes end, and it felt naturalistic, but we don't get a lot of big cathartic, I'm gonna punch a wall. I wish you weren't dead.
The Oscar clip scene.
Yeah, you don't get a lot of those. It's kind of quieter and a little sweeter in that way, where it's just these characters really, they clearly want it to work, but they just need to figure it out. And that ending scene where he's like, I figured it out. I want to be unhappy with you. I wasn't unhappy because of you, but I want to be unhappy with you, basically. And I also like something that I was confused of in the movie of when they're kind of having their little affair, and he goes to talk to her outside, and she's like, I'm getting this assistant coaching job. And he's like, yeah, look at this photo I have of you playing volleyball in my apartment. And she's like, huh, you didn't pick like a photo of me with our kids? And he's like, look at you in this. Like, you're killing it. Like, you're like, look how high off the ground you are. You're spiking that ball. And she's just like, that's who you view me as, but that's not who I am anymore. And I was like, I didn't pick up on that. I was like, why are you mad at him in this scene? And then when that happened, I was like, okay, that makes sense. Like, their arguments make sense to me.
Yep.
And I get why characters are getting mad by things. It doesn't feel forced. It feels natural. And I was just really surprised and blown away by how nuanced this film is. It reminded me of, like, I already mentioned Marriage Story. It reminded me of, like, Squid and the Whale at times, early Noah Baumbach. And it also, it feels like almost a love letter to, like, city living, almost like living in New York, kind of like, not that it feels like a Woody Allen film, but it feels like what a modern rendition of what a Woody Allen film would be. If it was instead of Annie Hall, we're getting a film about a failing marriage, kind of. I was really surprised by how much I loved this movie, and it was a gangbusters week between this and No Other Choice of catching up on 2025 releases, so great film. Love Bradley Cooper's directing.
Last thing I want to shout out is a movie that you watched recently that I was kind of weirdly thinking about during this movie, which is Akiru. And it's in Akiru, it's kind of the story of a man who starts living once he learns he's going to die. And I think with these characters, with Will Arnett and Laura Dern, they both kind of recover or at least discover something about their individual personalities when they separate. Yeah. So when shit kind of hits the fan after whatever 25 years of normalcy of being together, he goes and finds a community in stand-up comics and like gets to be a part of it. And then she goes back to coaching volleyball. And like I think they talk about in that attic scene too. They're like, we found each other again. And it was like attractive when we saw each other doing things that we both liked and were passionate about that we just lost when we were together. So it's a fun little like kind of diversion and then coming back together of the characters. So this movie I fucking loved. I love Bradley Cooper. All three of his movies have been in my top 10s of the respective years they've came out. This one's also got Peyton Manning in it, so that's fucking
pretty great.
He's good.
Too. He has a small role, but it works really well. And also, the scene he's in is in one of the best scenes of the movie of Laura Dern and him, who she's somewhat romantically interested in while she's separated, and she's like, maybe I have a fling with Laird, I think his name is.
Yeah.
I thought it was Larry until they said it like the third time. I was
Laird,
like, his name's fucking Laird? But then, sorry if anyone listening is named Laird. It's a great name.
No, there's no fucking people named Laird.
But they stumble upon Will Arnett doing stand-up at the show, and he has like a bigger time chunk, and he's just airing out his laundry, and all the stuff he's talking about is what would be pissing off Laura Dern, because it's personal stuff about their relationship, about him having sex post them being together, and you would expect in that moment they either make eye contact while he's on stage or that they have a falling out or she stops the show. But no, the bit goes on. She leaves. He finds out through another fellow comedian that she is there and was there, so he tracks her down, finds her outside of this comedy club, this bar. And the conversation isn't like, you did this, you said all this nasty shit, you did bad things. It's, you were alive in there. I saw something in there that I haven't seen in 20-odd years. And it was kind of hot. And I was like, okay. It's so easy to root for these two.
It's very mature.
Yeah, I was so excited for these two characters to be happy, whether it was with each other or without. I was like, all right, maybe this doesn't work out. Maybe you figure out co-parenting, because even their handling of that in this movie was really well done and refreshing and made me feel good. I was like, wow, I didn't expect that from this movie, or what I've seen other movies that handle this source material or this type of material, how they've handled it. And it's usually a little bit more screamy and a little bit more mad and throwing things and acting really hard and crying. So I really liked this movie. It really surprised me with how kind of subdued it was. Yeah. Definitely go see it. If it's showing near you, I was really happy. I saw it early this morning at like a 10 a.m. showing, and there was a pretty decent crowd for it. So go support it. It's worth your time. Anything Bradley Cooper's in or directing, check it out. Another movie that I caught this week, which is again another 2025 release, but I'm catching up a little bit. I I watched Little Amelie with the Character of Rain, which I only really discovered because Dan Murrell put out his 2025 end of year recap, which I believe you and I talked about a little bit. And he mentioned something about longest pretentious title, or trends that should die in Hollywood of like Little Amelie or the Character of Rain, or If I Had Legs I'd Kick You. Like just that one, shit like that. Just like give it a tighter title. But the title is the worst part about this movie. Because this movie is delightful and charming. It's about a little girl named Amelie, a Belgian child who's living in Japan with her family, and it explores her life of companionship with almost like a lived-in nanny, Nishio-san. And it documents her third birthday being a massive turning point for her family, and also just her coming of age even as a child, as she begins to experience life-altering events within her family and stuff like that. So it's also a very short film. I think it's like around an hour and a half, hour and 20. I really lucked out with some hour and a half and shorter films this week. But it's beautifully animated. It's in 2D. I sat down after Post Critics' Choice, and we got kind of the results of who was nominated for Best Animated Feature and who won. And I was like, oh, I haven't heard of some of these other nominees, and me trying to get a head start on some of what could be nominated for the Oscars, I was like, I'll watch this movie. Put it on, and my wife ended up sitting down watching with me because she really liked the animation style. She thought it looked really pretty. And she got mad at me because I didn't do my research, because this movie is pretty sneaky in the fact that it is downright upsetting at times. And this movie, there aren't many movies animated-wise that have hit me in the way that this movie did. The only animated movie I could say wrecked me like this would be Onward, which is about a boy and his brother trying to bring their dead dad back, which hits home because I lost my dad and I have a lot of brothers, and to me, my brothers, in a lot of ways, were my dad. So that movie wrecks me. This movie also wrecks me in different ways, but similar, just innocence of a child and growing up and experiencing loss, figuring out what you enjoy, how your family works, how your family interacts, and like I said, experiencing loss is the biggest thing, and the thing that really hit me. And I felt so bad because by the end of this movie, me and my wife were both just crying, and she was like, fucking, why did you make me watch that? I was like, I didn't make you watch it, I just turned it on. She's like, why didn't you look up how this movie ended? Because I tried to Google it, and it didn't say it was sad, but it was bittersweet, and it is bitter at times. But aside from that, aside from the story, it is beautifully animated and easily my favorite animated movie of 2025 that I've seen, which I haven't seen a whole lot. I saw Zootopia 2, I saw Elio. I can't think of anything, honestly, aside from those two. But similar to No Other Choice, this is a movie that would be in my top 10 of 2025. This is my favorite animated movie of last year. It's also one of the 10 best films I saw from last year. I think No Other Choice is sitting around like my 7 or 8, and I think this is at my 9. So they're right there. A phenomenal film. It's a quick watch. I believe I rented it on Prime, so I definitely recommend it. I hope it stays around for Oscar noms, and I hope it wins. I don't understand how K-Pop Demon Hunter is going to win Best Animated Feature this year at the Oscars. I don't think that should happen, just based off of the fact that I have seen this movie, and this movie is head and shoulders above, quality-wise, storytelling-wise, animation styling. It's head and shoulders above K-Pop. So great movie, loved it, wrecked me, so prepare yourself if you're going to watch it. I think also it might be a movie that's subbed. The rental I got on Amazon was dubbed, which I don't like dubbed viewings, and the mouths don't match up, and I'm like, I can fucking read, it's fine, just give me the subs. But mine automatically rented a dubbed version, so you might get subs, you might get dubs. Watch it if you can. It's a great movie, and I think it's one that's really kind of gone under the radar this year, so it's worth your time. Yeah,
this is one I've heard about, and I think will be in that Oscar conversation. That's where I've heard it from a lot of people that are like, this will be one of the nominees of the 5 this year. I haven't seen it, but you did mention K-Pop Demon Hunters, which you watched, I think, in like 2 sittings or something earlier this year.
I didn't plan on finishing it. And then I started, I think, talking about it and how it annoyed me, and then I was like, well, I should finish it and to get the satisfaction of completing a movie, because like it kind of sucks to not fully complete it. But I will say I do like most of the songs. Mm-hmm. The movie isn't horrible.
Yeah.
And it's really well animated.
Well, I checked it out this week, finally. Yeah. I'd kind of been putting it off, and it definitely is a cultural phenomenon since it came out in the summer. The women that sing a lot of the main songs were at the Vikings halftime Netflix show with Snoop Dogg and also Lainey Wilson and also Andrea Bocelli.
Wild.
Just a mix of everybody was there. So this movie has definitely transcended just being a Netflix movie and has been very popular.
I've already seen like little kids dressed up as these characters.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is really fun.
It's and you know what? I'm not really a big fan. I don't know anything about K-pop. I don't listen to K-pop music at all. And I'm not really big into anime, which this movie's not anime, but it takes influence for sure from anime. And it wasn't really my thing, so I was kind of more like, I'll wait and see if it's a part of award season, which it is. I think it probably will win Best Animated Feature.
No.
And
that's gonna be the one that you win the poll on because I refuse to put that down.
I don't think it should win, to be clear. I like Zootopia 2 a lot. This year was kind of weaker for animation.
Yeah.
Not a lot of big things came out, but I enjoy this movie a little bit more than I thought I would. I like the idea of it, I guess, the concept of these kind of main three singers that are in this band that they sing to like keep these demons at bay through their songs and kind of have this shield over the world, and like it's passed through generations to keep the demons at bay. That's kind of interesting. I like that a little bit. And you mentioned the music. The music is really good. It's pretty catchy, and like the Golden, the main song, is I think probably will win Best Original Song at the Oscars too.
I have no issue with that.
Great song. It's really good. So,
do you have a favorite song in the movie?
It's probably that one.
Okay.
I don't remember the names of the other ones specifically, but there was a lot of other good ones too besides that.
How it's done is regularly in my workout like routine, and like I will sometimes just double back onto that song. It has a good beat to it, and I really like that.
Yeah. So the music's very good in the movie, and I think it does have a good message about. It's kind of it's sort of predictable. It's kind of like the Frozen story.
Yeah.
A little bit of like, pushing down your fears and your faults and everything, but then you realize you need to use the broken pieces of yourself to fully realize yourself and use the, the people around you come together and you use all that. So it's a good message, I think. And I think the animation is really good in the movie as well. I think Sony Animation has done a great job in the last few years of like Mitchell's versus the Machines, the Spider-Verse movies, of being different and having kind of a unique feel. Whereas like Pixar has gotten a little stagnant for me with like the bubble heads and just kind of the same look to it.
Just go back to 2D animation for a little bit, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, so I like what Sony's doing, and even with like other studios with like the Mutant Mayhem and like Paramount doing stuff with that. That's really just cool stuff they're doing.
Yeah.
But I think it's a fine movie. Again, kind of a predictable story. I think that it's obviously very popular and a lot of people like it. Just some of the like anime and K-pop things I didn't connect with as much, but I enjoyed it more than I thought I would. And just being such a big player this award season for the animated and song categories, knew I needed to check it out, and I'm happy I did because I had a fine enough time with it.
Yeah, I don't remember the names of the like main trio. But if you were to boil it down into basically them being the K-pop version of Powerpuff Girls, you have one that's kind of sweet and innocent, and you have one that's the leader, and then you have one that has like a lower voice, is a little bit more stoic and cold-hearted and more brunt. That character in this movie, I need to try and look at the names.
I know like
There's Rumi, there's Zoe, and there's Mira, and I don't remember which one's which. But the one that has the lower voice, I found that character horribly grating and pissed me off in this movie. And I think my annoyances with that character kind of maybe colored a lot of my experience watching through this movie. And that's more just my own personal bias that just she rubbed me the wrong way and annoyed the shit out of me.
Yeah.
But I get why it was a cultural phenomenon, and it's kind of fun to have movies like that. Like, I remember when the first Frozen came out, and I was so annoyed by it because the music was everywhere. And then when I finally watched it, like, years later, I was like, it's not that bad. Mm-hmm. And then I watched Frozen 2, and I was like, this hits! I love Frozen 2. So, I'm happy you watched it, though, because it'll definitely be around for Oscars conversation, so it's something that we'll be talking about, I think, in the next month or two to come. So,
yeah.
And the songs... they slap, so it's worth it. The other two movies I watched this week, I'm going to run through them a little bit quicker, but we talked about the movie Hokum being kind of one of our hotly anticipated films of 2026. The director, Damien McCarthy?
There's this gap in there.
There's a gap in there, so I don't know how to say it. I'm going to say Carthy, he directed a film in 2024 called Oddity, which was recommended to me by one of our friends of the channel, Abby Coles, who is also a friend from high school of us, our high school years. And
Hi, Abby.
Hi, Abby. You're not watching this, but
Yeah.
thank you for the
Very nice
recommendation. It's a
person.
great movie.
Yeah.
So this is a horror film about this psychic medium who is attempting to uncover the truth behind her twin sister's disappearance and likely murder. And she takes this wooden doll to the site of the crime. So if you look up the Oddity, you're going to see this like wooden doll. It's probably going to be in the thumbnail of this video too. I didn't watch this movie for the longest time because I was like, there's no way someone brings that wooden doll to a house and people aren't like, that thing's fucked up and weird. But it is, and they acknowledge it in this movie. And I was like, oh, okay, I just need to get past that part. This is a really well-directed, small little horror thriller. There's not a lot of like outright scary moments to me, but I think there's a lot of good like imagery in this film, especially around that wooden man that she brings to this house, and how she explores the memories that exist within the home, basically, to kind of help crack what happened. I was really kind of surprised by how much I like this movie. It's really well lit, well acted. A lot of this cast I don't recognize. You got Carolyn Bracken, Gwillem Lee, and Steve Wall. I don't know a lot of these actors, and it is I believe Hokum's going to be an Irish kind of story, Irish folktale almost. This is a film that is very much Irish actors shot in Ireland, and it has that kind of more folky, homey feel to it. And it has good like horror elements. It really worked well. It kept me kind of engaged, and it was suspenseful. Me and my wife watched this one together as well, and we both really enjoyed it. So I'd recommend watching it. I'm happy I have it under my belt at this point because it makes me even more so excited to see Hokum when that comes around, and I'm more convinced that Hokum could be really scary. And I'm so stoked for that because I need a good scary movie this year.
Yeah.
So I'd recommend it to you. I'm sure you'll watch it before Hokum comes out.
Yeah, that's kind of my plan to check it out. I've heard so many good things, and yeah, I'm excited to watch kind of those back to back in the same week.
Yeah, great movie. I would definitely recommend. I also watched a old kind of throwback movie from 1953, The Big Heat. I mentioned a couple of weeks ago that I bought a bunch of Criterions, this being one of them. This is like kind of one of the neo-noir films I feel like I heard about for a long time. It was like you like neo-noir or noir films? You like The Maltese Falcon and you like The Big Heat. Like those were the kind of like the two pinnacle ones for me. This is coming from director Fritz Lang, who made M, who made Metropolis, who made Ministry of Fear. It's starring Glenn Ford, Gloria Graham, Jocelyn Brando, Alexander Scorby, and Lee Marvin. This is one of the first, this is the first time I've seen young Lee Marvin in a movie, who's famous for like Dirty Dozen and stuff like that. He's got such a booming voice and such a very sharp face. Like all of his facial features are so pencil line sharp on his face. He's a very interesting actor. I really like him. And he's great in this movie. But the story is about a tough cop, Dave Banyan, who is, I'll get to the rest of the movie, one of the coolest film characters I've seen in a long time. Very refreshing. But tough cop Dave Banyan's taking on a politically powerful crime syndicate based off of injustices that his family has faced. I don't want to like kind of give too much away, but he's looking to get revenge, but there's blocks that are coming up that he should be able to steamroll through because he's part of the police department, but then he's finding and uncovering further corruption with every step he takes further. This film is, being from Fritz Lang, I know Fritz Lang for being really good as a black and white director. M is one of my favorite movies. Metropolis is so influential for sci-fi filmmaking, but also still for a movie that old. I believe it was like a 1920s film. Looks awesome. Oh, yeah. All shot in camera. Looks fantastic. This movie also looks fantastic. It is very hard-boiled noir. You got like just the quips, the dialogue, it all works so well. And Dave Banyan is very... I don't know if I've seen a lot of Glenn Ford acted performances, a lot of movies with him in it, but he's kind of like my own take on him, he's kind of an average looking dude. I don't obviously know a whole lot about his filmography, but he is such a stone cold badass. And this is kind of like, this movie plays kind of in the way that like a Richard Bronson Death Wish would. But it's not a action revenge tale, it's more of a procedural noir revenge. And he's willing to just knock bitches out, and he's a cop at the end of his line, and he's just trying to get answers, and he's running into fucking blockades everywhere. So I was really engaged with this movie. I thought it was so fun. It works really well. I was also surprised of the balls this movie has. For being a movie in the 1950s, there's things that happen in this movie that I was like, I did not think I would see that in a movie made this long ago. It was kind of refreshing. There's some decent practical effects work. The score is great. There's something, like, watching movies like this and of this era makes me feel like I'm at, like, my grandparents' and, like, Turner Classic Movies is on. Like, we're just have that channel running and we're watching old black and white films. I really enjoyed this movie. I get why it's a classic, and not only do I recognize it being a classic, but I also really enjoyed this movie and think it's great. So it was a win-win watching this, and it was such a fun watch. This is a movie that I definitely had to watch late at night while my wife was asleep next to me with headphones on and subtitles on, so I didn't wake her up. And even with that kind of jerry-worked kind of film watching experience, loved this movie. So I'd recommend that movie as well.
Earlier, or I guess last year now, I watched M, Fritz Lang's other movie, and I really, really love that one. Metropolis, like you said, is very influential. If you watch Blade Runner or Batman 89 or anything like that,
honestly, Batman 2022 or 2023, whatever.
Sure, yeah. You take any movie, you could probably find something that Metropolis was influential to. So, yeah, definitely want to check out. Coming out this week, the big one is 28 Years Later, Bone Temple, which will more than likely be the first movie I see in 2026. Very curious about it. I've heard a lot of really good things. I like 28 Years Later. We talked about it last year. I love the first half of 28 Years Later a lot, when it's Aaron Taylor Johnson and his son hunting on an island for zombies. And then the back half of the movie, when we get more Ralph Fiennes in that part, and we get obviously the kind of cliffhanger, I guess, of Jack O'Connell and these other, whatever they are, this other group of people. And that part to me was not as engaging as the first half. I still liked elements of it, but it seems like this movie is kind of more bridging off the back half of that movie. So I'm curious about it. It's coming from Nia DaCosta, who has made some movies. Candyman, which I think is okay. I was kind of disappointed in. The Marvels, which we both sort of famously like a little bit more than most people. Yeah. And then Hedda, which I probably will watch this week. It's kind of a more recent movie. It's getting a little bit of awards buzz there for Tessa Thompson.
It's really well made.
So I'll probably check that one out. But the latest movie in the 28 blank later series, whatever you fucking want to call it, coming out on Netflix this week is a movie called The Rip from Joe Carnahan, who gave us, you mentioned the A-Team earlier. It's coming, he made that movie. It's pretty fun.
I love the A-Team.
It's great.
I think Joe Carnahan makes awesome action flicks, especially Cop Shop. That was probably his most recent one. That Cop Shop's awesome.
I haven't seen Cop Shop, but I need to watch that movie.
Really fun.
But yeah, it's an action movie. Matt Damon, Ben Affleck starring in it. They're not writing the movie, but they are starring in it. Teyana Taylor, fresh off One Battle After Another. A good supporting cast in there. Just some cops that are, they find a bunch of cash and they're just, I don't know, it's some cop shit.
It reminds me of like Triple Frontier, which was also a Ben Affleck movie that went
Netflix.
JC
Chandor
Yep. Directed it straight to Netflix. So it has similar vibes of just like they found a lot of money. Do they keep it?
What's next?
Do they not do it?
What do they do next?
Do they turn it in and be good cops?
I actually might watch this one. Maybe not this week.
Probably will.
Yeah, maybe this week I'll watch it. I don't know. I've got Netflix for a little bit more because I got to watch Peaky Blinders, which I'm starting my watch through next week.
Me and my wife just finished watching, which I didn't talk about. I completely forgot. We watched What We Do in the Shadows, and now next on the docket is to start on Peaky Blinders, and she decided she wants to watch that with me, which means I'm going to move real slow through that show. But as long as I finish it before March 20th or whatever the movie comes out, I will be happy. So I will also be starting that soon.
Yes, excited to talk about that in the coming weeks. But as far as the other couple things this week, we have a movie called Night Patrol. Dermot Mulroney, you guys miss him? He's coming, and Justin Long, he's gonna be in there. LA cop discovers a local task.
You guys miss him?
Yeah, Dermot Mulroney.
Straight on Dermot Mulroney.
Yeah, I don't know. What's your favorite Dermot Mulroney movie or show?
Him and Friends. That's the thing I'd link him to.
Sure, there you go. Yeah, it's been a while since Friends, huh?
Like 30 years.
Yeah, cop discovers a local task force is hiding a secret that puts the residents of his childhood neighborhood in danger. Sure. The other thing that's kind of expanding this week nationwide is Dead Man's Wire, coming from Gus Van Sant, starring Bill Skarsgård, which we talked about a little bit more last week. I've heard really good things about this one too, so I'm excited for that. But definitely my priority this week is 28 Years Later, Bone Temple, seeing how they continue this and their kind of new little trilogy, I guess, of 28 years later movies that they're doing.
Yeah, I'm excited to check it out. I feel similar, I think, to you with 28 Years Later, but I might like it a hair more. But it does take some wild swings in the latter moments of that movie, so I'm excited to see kind of what route we go down more. It looks like this is going to be a very heavy Jack O'Connell, Ray Fiennes movie, and I love both of those actors, so I'm like, all right, sold. And I've heard good things going into it, but I also heard really great things with the previous one, and I liked it, so I'm hoping that I just enjoy it as much as I like the first one, I guess, at this point. Moving into a physical media roundup, this we purchased lately, I did order copies of the original Star Trek The Motion Picture, the Director's Cut Blu-ray, as well as Star Trek 7 Generations. I ordered the 4K Blu-ray formatted of that just because I'm doing a big kind of Star Trek watch through. I'm not going to watch every single one. There's ones that I've like looked up enough about where they're like fans of movies who are like, you can skip Insurrection or Nemesis or Final Frontier. Just I'm hitting most of the good ones. Generations isn't even one that people often say is that good. It's just the one where you get Jean-Luc Picard and Shatner's Kirk in it together. So I'm like, I feel like I gotta see that, and that's kind of the handoff for the next gen crew, at least as the films go. So I'm excited to watch that, and then I'll probably follow it up with First Contact. But yeah, I'm doing a sneaky little Star Trek watch through, and to this point they've all been really fun and really pleasant, so I'm really enjoying it. It's
been so interesting how you're bouncing. Like you
I'm not
like 6 and then
I'm
3.
Not
and then...
going in order because I didn't think I was going to do this, but I loved Undiscovered Country so much, and I was like, well, I've seen Wrath of Khan. I should go back and watch 3. And now it's like I'll probably watch Voyage Home this week. I was going to watch it this past week, but I didn't have time, so I'm probably going to watch it maybe even tomorrow. And then I will likely start with Generations and then First Contact. So I might, in the next couple of weeks, some Star Trek conversation.
There we go. I like it. Coming out this week, not a lot of new releases. We had some old library titles coming out. Dante's Peak on 4K. And then if you're looking for some Babe movies on 4K, Babe and Babe Pig in the City. They're finally coming to 4K. You've been waiting for that for a while.
Were they both made by George Miller or just the first one?
Is
it Pig in the City? What's the second one called?
Yeah, Pig in the City.
Awesome. It just screams like Garfield Tale of Two Kitties.
Tale of Two Kitties, yeah.
Which has Tom Atkins.
Yeah, weird.
We're not going to
inside joke. It's weird inside joke between us. I feel like he made both of them. Well, I don't know. You look it up.
He did fucking make both.
He made both, and then he made both Happy Feets.
And then the second Happy Feet too?
I think he made both Happy Feets.
God.
And then obviously the Mad Max
movies.
Yeah, sure. I don't know. Interesting career from George Miller. Maybe he'll make another Happy Feet after.
Happy Feet 3, give it to me.
Yeah.
It looks like it was George Miller from fucking both Happy Feet.
Yeah,
movies.
Furiosa didn't do that well, so maybe he's back to Happy Feet or Babe 3 or something. I don't know. And then 1408 also coming out on 4K. So, not as many new things this week. But wanted to dive in. You mentioned some of the Critics' Choice Awards. They happened this past Sunday, right after we finished recording our main episode. And wanted to go through just some of the main things. Not going to go through all of them, like I always mention, just except for the Oscars, we kind of go through all of them. The other award shows, just want to mention the main stuff. One thing I do want to say is that the Critics' Choice Awards have great pacing. It's like a 3-hour show, which is the same as the Oscars, but they cover movies and TV and all of it. And they have, like, Chelsea Handler's been the host for a while, and she's fine. I think she's very okay in that role. It's kind of a thankless job to host at any of these things, but I think...
Get away from having a host.
Yeah, right. I'd be okay with that. But the thing that Critics' Choice Awards does is they have their monologue for, 10 minutes, and then they just give out awards the rest of the night. What an awards show should do. They don't have dumb bits of Conan singing songs about how we're wasting time. They don't have any of that. They're just like, we're here for the awards and these people winning these awards. And they go through film and television. And there's a lot of fucking awards to get through. So, props to you, Critics' Choice. I really like how you structure your show. The big things kind of from this awards show. Starting on the movie side, Best Picture, one battle after another. Which is sort of the front runner right now, I would say. Kind of a lot of the award stuff has been going to that. Sinners had the best night of anybody. Miles Caton won Best Young Actor, Actress.
Yeah.
Happy to see that. He's so fucking good in that movie. And then it got Original Screenplay, and then it got Best Original Score. And what else did it fucking
Casting
get?
and ensemble.
Got Casting and Ensemble, which is kind of their new hybrid award this year, and then we'll see the Best Casting Award for the Oscars this season as well. And then, One Battle After Another got Adapted Screenplay. Timothée Chalamet won Best Actor for Marty Supreme. Jessie Buckley, Best Actress for Hamnet. And then a couple of, interesting categories. Supporting Actor and Supporting Actress. Jacob Elordi won Best Supporting Actor for Frankenstein. I like him in the movie. I think he's good. But over Sean Penn and Benicio del Toro for One Battle After Another.
Yeah.
Over Stellan Skarsgård for Sentimental Value. Over Adam Sandler for Jay Kelly. Over a
That
lot
one
of,
I'm fine with.
over a lot of people that I'm like, I think a lot of people gave better performances. I'm happy to see it. Frankenstein's definitely gaining momentum.
Yeah, it is.
And then Best Supporting Actress, Amy Madigan for Weapons. The Weapons train, especially for her, that campaign, it seems like kind of a run of destiny. I feel like she may end up winning this Oscar.
I will
it's
be
crazy.
so fucking... That'd be the win of the night, for me, is to get some genre film, some horror performance up on stage, have someone talk about some nutty shit they did in a horror film from that previous year. That'd be so awesome. Her acceptance speech, her running up, I was just like, hell yeah, this is so cool.
She's like, I thought people would like Gladys, or dig Gladys, but didn't know this was going to happen, which was very sweet. So maybe, Critics' Choice is setting the tone a little bit for some of this stuff. We'll have Golden Globes happening tomorrow night, which we'll talk on next week's episode. Other movie stuff, just Frankenstein, F1, Avatar won some of the technical awards, which we all kind of expected. Mm-hmm. K-pop Demon Hunters, just mentioned, animated feature and best original song. And then just wanted to move into TV real quick. It's kind of what has been happening at the Emmys and other TV award shows. The Pit taking a lot of drama series. I know the second season just came out. I still haven't watched the show. I've heard really good things. I just am not always attracted to medical dramas, but I've heard this one's better than a lot of other ones.
It's pretty great. I haven't seen a lot of it. I've just caught parts of episodes. Okay. And it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, Noah Wiley and Catherine Lanasa took home some awards there. So happy to see Tremel Tillman for Severance. He won at the Emmys as well. He's fucking awesome as Mr. Milchick, especially in the second season of that show. Thing I was most happy about, Ray Seahorn winning Best Actress in a Drama Series for Pluribus. I've been championing that show. I think she's so good in it, and then she was very genuinely surprised to be up on the stage and accepting the award too, which was very sweet to see. Comedy series, The Studio is fucking cleaning house, and I love seeing that. Seth Rogen, Ike Barinholtz winning there. And then limited series, again, Adolescence. I've sung that show's praises. I think that's such a good limited series. The best limited series I saw last year. Stephen Graham, Owen Cooper, and Aaron Doherty won awards for that. So, just a little wrap up on the Critics' Choice Awards, and then we just had some nominees I'll run through quick. We had the SAG Awards, which they have their kind of outstanding cast award, which is sort of the best picture-ish type of thing. As my computer is just giving me all kinds of fucking create a free account. Fuck off, dude. Oh,
I also ran into that. We're on the same website.
Oh, dude. Okay.
New York Times, come on. Just let us look.
We got to fill some... We don't want to have any dead air here, so we got to do this fucking thing. Okay, so SAG Awards, the main one, Marty Supreme, Frankenstein, One Battle After Another, Sinners, and Hamnet. Pretty happy with all of those. I think I'm pretty fine with those. Actress, we have Emma Stone, Jessie Buckley, Kate Hudson for Song Sung Blue, which a lot of people are...
One nomination.
You got a video play.
I got a video.
Oh, we're gonna get demonetized or some shit now, man. Nice.
Chase Infinity.
Just an old man.
Yeah.
Chase Infinity, and also Rose Byrne for If I Had Legs I'd Kick You were nominated. So
yeah, I'm gonna have to fucking watch that movie.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing it.
I saw Tully. I'm good.
Yeah.
And I like Tully. I don't need to see more.
Yeah. Best Actor, Michael B. Jordan, Leo DiCaprio, Ethan Hawke for Blue Moon. And
I'm excited about it.
I'm very excited. Timothée Chalamet and Jesse Plemons, great to see him in there. The main thing for me, I guess, is that Sentimental Value... Actually, a lot of the international things. Sentimental Value, Secret Agent... we didn't have Renata Reinsve, we didn't have Elle Fanning, Inga Lilius, we didn't have Stellan Skarsgård in any of these, even supporting actor, all this stuff, I don't know what the fuck happened. The international field this year is really good, and they didn't get any acting award, or I guess they're called the Actor Awards now. Fuck off, they're the SAG Awards.
Yeah.
Who gives a fuck? But I was happy to see Odessa Zion and Marty Supreme get a supporting actress nomination. So I don't know. I'm fine with them.
I don't know if there's a lot of like steam around Ariana Grande for Wicked for Good, but I feel like this is the first mention I've heard of anything Wicked related, at least in terms of acting, and for awards contention. And last year, I feel like we had Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande being talked about a lot, and it's kind of surprising. I don't know. I'm interested to see if that's going to be something that lingers all the way throughout the awards series or season and make its way to Oscars or not. I'm also really thrilled though to see Wunmi Masaku for Sinners get nominated. That's awesome. She's fantastic in the movie. I feel like a lot of these are like pretty typical to what I've been hearing. I'm excited to see Jesse Plemons get a nominee for Begonia. But yeah, kind of similar to what you're saying. There's not a lot of like international representation in terms of like sentimental value and the other big heavy hitters of this season that I feel like will be sticking around for the Oscars.
Yeah. Just the last couple things, nominees wise, the DGA nominations came out as well. We had PTA for One Battle After Another, Ryan Coogler, Guillermo del Toro, Josh Safdie, and Chloe Zhao. Again, kind of missing out on international stuff. Like, I feel like Joachim Trier for Sentimental Value certainly is in the conversation for an Oscar nom as well. I don't know if Del Toro is going to stick around for Oscar. Like, Frankenstein has a lot of hype and a lot of build-up that I didn't expect, really.
Yeah. I feel like that movie had a point where it already fell off, and now it's just, like, made a resurgence and came back already. A lot of big things there, and so we'll see. I think, like, 3 or 4 of those are kind of what we will see for Oscar season. And then... Sorry, Ben Safdie.
Yeah, sorry, Josh. You did a lot better than your brother Benny.
Yeah.
PGA nominations. Again, this is the kind of the Best Picture award for the Producers Guild. For that, we had Begonia, F1, Frankenstein, Hamnet, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, Sentimental Value, Sinners, Train Dreams, and Weapons got on there as well.
That's really cool.
Yeah. Like to see Weapons and F1 kind of sneak their way into that conversation there. Again, some international things, Secret Agent, No Other Choice, not in there, but yeah, it's fun. I fucking love this time of year. Like I said, Golden Globes are tomorrow. I'm really excited for it. I'm gonna have to record and watch after the Pats game. I'm going to the Timberwolves game tomorrow too. Fucking busy day. So I'm excited for that and all the award season stuff. We'll be tracking it as it goes along throughout the season.
Yeah, and I feel like this year we have some sure bets, or the nominees that I think are sticking around a lot are ones that I expected, and then seeing kind of F1 get some love and seeing Weapons get some love and Amy Madigan really gaining momentum. I'm like, oh, this is kind of... I feel like the Oscars gets looked at, because it is my favorite day of the year, but it's looked at as being kind of too hoity-toity or pretentious with the films that it nominates. And I'm like, with the way it's kind of progressing throughout the season, I'm like, I think this is doing a good job at opening up the entire film year of 2025 and saying, it's not necessarily the most artsy-fartsy shit that we're putting on screen. It's F1, it's Weapons, it's just well-made in the genre it's in. And that's all that matters. So I think that's really exciting. Again, I more typically pay attention to the Oscars and only the Oscars, so I really appreciate you doing the breakdowns of all these nominees, because otherwise I'd just be like, Oscar time, here it is, what do we think? But yeah, it's really exciting. It ramps up steam. When do we get the nominees for the Oscars announced?
It'll be January 22nd for the Oscar nominations.
11 days. So,
yep.
All right, I'm going to be waking up early morning.
Oh, yeah.
I love that.
It's an event for us.
And then I go to work and I just don't do shit because I'm just thinking about movies.
You got your list of stuff you need to see. Yeah. Oh, it's so exciting.
Because last year I watched all the nominees. This year I'm going to do the exact same, I think. And I think I have a good head start on that. We watched a lot of movies. You and I both kept up a lot on kind of current stuff coming out as it was coming out. And I'm trying to already get a jump on what I think might get nominated. So I already know I need to likely watch Blue Moon. And if not, I'm excited to watch that, so I will. But I'll have to also likely watch If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You, which I think is on Prime. So maybe I'll just rent that and bum myself out for 2 hours one weeknight this week. Moving into other movie news, we did have a couple of trailers. So for the trailer roundup, we have The Death of Robin Hood starring Hugh Jackman in an A24 little kind of Robin Hood reimagining, retelling. We got another Avengers Doomsday teaser. I don't know if this is official. You saw the new teaser, the one with
the leaked one.
Yeah, the leaked one with the Wakandans and Fantastic Four. I saw people saying that was AI. I think that is
it's the real one.
It's the real one. So we got that new teaser, and there's also a trailer that came out. I'm sure you didn't watch it. I also didn't watch it. It's going straight to Prime, which is why I didn't watch it. But it has a good cast of Jason Momoa and Dave Bautista playing half brothers. The trailer for The Wrecking Crew came out. I think that's a great title for a movie with those two in an action film. I'm not going to watch the trailer because it's going straight to Prime, and I don't really care about that. But Death of Robin Hood trailer looks great. I wasn't really that interested in it, and I didn't even know about this movie being made. And to think, oh, Hugh Jackman just taking on Robin Hood, that'd be something that you know about. I'm pretty interested in this. I feel like it gives like kind of the Green Knight vibes. Like I'm kind of sold on this movie. That Avengers Doomsday teaser trailer. Okay. It gave us more teams that are going to show up, and I'm more just interested to see where is the jumping off point in Doomsday. Who's meeting who? Who's leading the charge? Is the Fantastic Four coming through in the Thunderbolts post-credit scene that we got? Are they the team? They land. We need to get to Doom. Who else is on that ship with them? Is the X-Men with them?
Yeah,
that's what I think. I don't know.
Or is it Doom on this ship?
And he's like, we should.
He stole their ship or something. I don't know.
That'd be cool too. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, he could just be like, "Hey guys, fucking die." Which would be really exciting.
It's sort of fun, like the Infinity War of like how we're splitting up the crews and the teams. So we see like the Wakandans and the Fantastic Four. I like that. But yeah, the Death of Robin Hood, coming from Michael Sarnowski, who did Pig and A Quiet Place Day One.
I really like Pig.
Really good movies. So I didn't really have much excitement, like just on concept alone, but from the involvement and like Hugh Jackman there, looks pretty cool.
Yeah, and this isn't really a part of movie news. I'm not going to talk too much about it. There was rumors running around that there's a 3-hour, 45-minute runtime for Avengers Doomsday. That's fucking ridiculous. That movie is nowhere near picture lock. The Russo brothers don't even know how long that movie's going to fucking be at this point. We don't get it until December. This is going to be a massive movie, and you haven't even finished effects shots. You're not going to know how long this movie is until fucking maybe a month before it comes out. So that rumor running around, if you believe it, read a book. Do something. You're not on top of your ball. In other news, Sebastian Stan, keeping kind of with Marvel, Sebastian Stan is in talks to be joining the Batman Part 2. It's been kind of heavily rumored that he might be taking on a villainous role or potentially Two-Face, Harvey Dent. That's one that's kind of been circulating a lot. Matt Reeves, again, directing and writing the sequel, which will begin production this spring and will release October 1st of 2027. Getting a lot of Marvel crossover with DC now, getting Sebastian Stan. Also, it was rumored or discussed that Scarlett Johansson was also coming over in a undisclosed role, at least to this point. Speculation's kind of going around for me. Two-Face. I think, honestly, if that, just have them both be the Dents. I don't know if I need a Two-Face story, but if you want to have Harvey Dent the character, I'd be kind of cool with that. There's also rumors of Court of Owls. A lot of the rumors play into villain roles, so I doubt we're going to see a Sebastian Stan Robin, which also, he's way too old to be Robin, but like, it's all villainous characters that are being mentioned for who he could be playing, so it will likely go that way, and I think that that's a great choice, especially following up Paul Dano as the Riddler from the first one. Awesome. Works for me. Lionsgate has, kind of unsurprisingly, greenlit a sequel to its recent hit thriller, The Housemaid, with production on The Housemaid's Secret set to begin in 2026. I don't know if that's an official title for the movie. I know that is the sequel book following up that original. Sydney Sweeney is eyeing to return, as well as Paul Feig. Sweeney would be taking on the starring role as well as executive producing. And then the follow-up, like I said, is based on that second novel from Freda McFadden. I really liked this first movie. I don't know. It feels like we're getting... I loved A Simple Favor. I didn't check out Another Simple Favor. You watched that, and you can attest that movie's not good.
Yeah.
I really liked The Housemaid, and it feels very much in that same realm of, soap opera, glamour, thriller of A Simple Favor. I don't know if I need a sequel. I don't know what that story is. It just feels like, oh, it happens again with the same character? Okay.
The only thing that's making me, optimistic about it is that it is based on a book, too.
Yeah.
Sometimes they'll do that where, a popular book gets a movie and then they'll do a sequel, but the book didn't have a sequel.
So they're just we'll make it up for
what
we know.
Fuck it, we'll do it. But this one actually, I don't know what the sequel book is about, but I really like the first movie. So they bring those Amanda Seyfried and Sydney Sweeney back. Fuck it, I'm down.
Yeah. Kathleen Kennedy is expected to announce the end of her nearly 14-year tenure as the Lucasfilm president, and it's rumored that she would be handing leadership over to creative director Dave Filoni and Lynn Brennan, who handles more of the finance side. It's kind of similar to what HBO did with DC Studios, with James Gunn handling more of the creative, and then Peter Safran doing more of the business type. Reported by Puck's Matthew Belloni, this move is imminent, and Kennedy will remain an active producer on the current Star Wars project that she's previously already greenlit, but we'd likely be seeing a change here, kind of turning over within the next couple of years. So you can't blame, like, if this goes through, it's been rumored, it's been reported on, and it's kind of catching a lot of steam. Once this is true, you can't blame if Mandalorian and Grogu is bad. You can't blame it on Filoni yet. You can't blame Star Wars Starfighter being bad on Filoni yet. This is still within the Kathleen Kennedy regime, which, as a producer, she's been kind of wonky with Lucasfilm. She greenlights a lot of stuff and then says, actually, we're not going to release it. Oh, you guys going to get a trilogy? No, you're not. You're going to make a movie? No, you're not. You're going to direct Solo? No, you're not. But we got Last Jedi, we got Rise of Skywalker, we got some good movies, some movies that people hate that I still like, Corey still likes. But that move for Kathleen Kennedy is looking like it's going to be a reality here in the coming weeks. We also got Tom Cruise, sticking with Star Wars, unexpectedly stepped in behind the camera of Star Wars Starfighter to help film a lightsaber scene in the mud. And you get kind of a cool, I saw an interview of Sean Levy, the director of this film, talking about Tom Cruise visiting the set, landing in his helicopter, checking out the stunts, and then grabbing a camera and just getting his shoes dirty in the mud filming a lightsaber battle, which I think is the most Tom Cruise thing ever, and also is very cool, and I'm sold on. And you know what? They better keep that in the film, and they better have a credit of Tom Cruise filming that specific fight scene. So I think that's very interesting information to just like kind of pop out of nowhere.
Also, just there's lightsabers in this movie?
That too. Is there a
who's
Jedi?
The duel?
Is there a Jedi?
Yeah. I briefly just wanted to touch on the Kathleen Kennedy news. I feel like she gets a lot of hate, especially now. People are like, she ruined Star Wars, she sucks, everything she does is bad. Any movie you grew up liking, Kathleen Kennedy was a producer on and helped get greenlit. You know, any Spielberg movie you liked, you know, she was a producer on The Sixth Sense. Yeah. Like, she's done so much good work in her career, and I hate that it's kind of been boiled down to like, Star Wars, she's terrible with it, and her legacy is so much more than that. It's like, I'm not going to excuse some of the choices made during Star Wars in this time, but look into all of the movies she's ever been involved in. She's had a big part to play in a lot of very good movies, too. So
she has a pretty impressive stamp on Hollywood. Yeah. Like, even Spielberg, who is arguably the greatest director of all time, depending on who you ask, he goes to bat for Kathleen Kennedy and says that she is the greatest producer Hollywood has ever had.
Yeah.
So, like, you're having one of the guys with the most street cred in Hollywood saying, this is the person I'm looking to if I need a movie produced.
Yeah.
So I'd probably listen to him. But that doesn't necessarily always translate to producing to being the head of a production studio or a complete, being the president of Lucasfilm. It's not a one-to-one, but she does kind of get a bad rap. I also think the Star Wars fandom is just largely toxic at this point, so no one's satisfied in the Star Wars fandom unless you like The Last Jedi, like us. And it's just like, ow! Everyone's really pissed for some reason.
Yeah, weird.
Also, big surprise, huge nostalgia. This is a shift off of Star Wars, looking to something that I didn't think we would be getting. I didn't think we'd get a fourth one of these films, but luckily we did. A new Jackass film has been confirmed by Johnny Knoxville, confirming this on, I believe, either Twitter or X, whatever it is, or maybe Instagram. But Jackass 5 is going to be released in theaters this summer, June 26, 2026. The franchise co-creator, Johnny Knoxville, did tease it with the logo of the skull and the crossed crutches. I also saw rumors that Bam Margera would be returning, which he hasn't been in a Jackass film in a while. He hasn't really been associated with Jackass a whole lot. As someone who kind of consistently has watched Jackass as a kid and then watched these movies, some of them in theaters, I have a blast with these. They're not great. Like, it's different than going to see, like, an actual narrative film, obviously. You're just seeing a bunch of guys test fate, and a lot of times it involves their genitals, and you're like, oh, God! Why are they tasing that? Oh, my God! Why are they letting a snake bite that? Why are you drinking a cup of sweat from Preston? Oh, get the boy off a treadmill. So I know nothing about this. I think that this is so cool, and this just makes like middle school to high school Mason really excited because I grew up watching Jackass. We also officially got a release date for Godzilla Minus Zero, as that is coming out in 2026. It's a movie that we kind of failed to talk about in our most anticipated, because we both really like Godzilla Minus One. So obviously the sequel was hotly anticipated for us as well. But it will be released on November 6th, 2026. And it will expand that kind of epic monster franchise that we've got developed from the initial Godzilla Minus One. So that's another kind of update in terms of what's releasing when. Still waiting on a release date for Adventures of Cliff Booth, which I sadly forgot to put on my top 10 most anticipated. But it's kind of interesting that we're getting release dates at the start of a year for that current year. Mm-hmm. Granted, we already know these properties are going to release the films. It's just we don't know yet or when yet. So I'm excited for this. And I really was surprised by how much I liked Godzilla Minus One.
Also,
it's my favorite Godzilla movie.
Yeah, me too. I would agree with that. But 2014 Godzilla, also very good. If you complained about there not being enough Godzilla, rewatch the movie. It's really good.
Read a book.
I really.
That's gonna be my.
That's a common thing.
If I think you're dumb, I'm gonna just say.
That came up in Stranger Things talk quite a bit.
Read a book.
But also, where do we go if? I mean, I'm assuming Godzilla Minus Zero is going to do pretty well. We've done Minus One.
Godzilla Plus One.
Do we go plus one or do we go minus negative one, which is plus one?
That's plus
actually.
One. That's plus one.
But yeah, what do we title them now? I don't know. Where do we go? Godzilla.
Just Godzilla Dash.
Oh, Godzilla Infinity.
Oh, like the fucking yeah.
That's kind of cool. Take out the minus and just do Godzilla Infinity.
That feels like Jason X.
Yeah.
That feels like he's going to space.
Put him in space. Yeah, we've had Space Godzilla in the old ones. Put him in fucking space now.
Launch his ass up.
Yeah, give him a good budget and put him in space.
Honestly, he's just fucking atomic breaths down. He'll probably go up.
Big lizard fighting big aliens on the moon.
Just fighting the moon.
Yeah, fuck him.
Just punching the moon. Just hitting craters.
Oh yeah, punch the moon. Punch the sun. Fuck him.
Fuck the moon. Anyways, that's all for us today for another episode of Slate Night, the Film Fan Podcast. Thanks for joining us. Be sure to follow us on Instagram and TikTok. You'll get a lot of those kind of top 10 lists that we're talking about. Also, a little bit more in-depth following of awards conversation going into Oscars as we lead up to nominees and nominations. But aside from that, leave us a like, leave us a comment, show us that you're at least interested in what we're saying so that we continue to do this, because otherwise we're just we're sending it out into the void and we're getting nothing back. But we'll get like the $3 of monetization that we have and we'll fucking run that shit to the bank.
We are Will Arnett, you are Laura Dern.
Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense actually. In the world of film, it's not just about what's on screen. It's also about who's next to you in the theater.
Go Pats, go Drake May, go Mike Vrabel. Go Pats, baby. Go Pats, go. Go Pats, go.